Welcome to the Chronicles, told by the Chronikle, cases of the missing, murdered, and unsolved. I'd like to thank everyone for watching today, and don't forget to head over to thecertifiedchronikle.com where you'll find source information for today's episode. And be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss a case. Before we get started, I would like to thank Twisted Gorilla for partnering with me. If you love funny, sarcastic t-shirts and accessories, head over to twistedgorilla.com, where a portion of every sale goes to the Diane Fossey International Gorilla Fund. Use code THERORACLE at checkout for 15% off. Once again, that's code THERORACLE at checkout for 15% off. A link will be in the description box below. Let's get started with Chronicle number 19, the Dena and Dean case. The year was 1998. That 70s show, Charmed and Felicity, had taken over television screens in most homes, giving way to the messy hair, strappy sandals, mini-dress look of young teens everywhere. Going out to hang with friends, listening to Closing Time, Pretty Fly, or Save Tonight by Eagle Eye Cherry, before pulling into your favorite food joint for some burgers and fries. Heading over to the cinema to watch Waterboy, Pleasantville, or Basketball. Then heading back home before curfew so you can do it all again tomorrow night. One young teen was not this lucky. She would never get the chance to enjoy the teen life again, as one joke would unknowingly cost her her life. Dena Ann Dean was born on February 26, 1982, to Larry and Diana Dean. She was very close with her family. She looked like her mom, but was a daddy's girl at heart. Her initials even spelled out Dad. As she grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, she enjoyed racing, and she would go with her family any chance she could to the racetrack to watch the sprint cars. She also loved to help her dad work on cars. When she turned 16, it changed from working on cars to working at the local Arby's and becoming interested in boys. Dena was an honors student and a member of the marching band at Webster's High School, where she dreamed of becoming an attorney. By this time, Dena had 2 or 3 boyfriends, but they were nothing serious. She had her best friend Carrie, and the two had been inseparable since first grade. Dena would confide in Carrie that she was seeing an older boy. He was 18 years old, and she was really smitten with him. His name was Michael, and she had met him while shopping at Marvin's food store, where he was a cashier. Dena had told Carrie she thought things were pretty serious between them. Michael was considered by many as a teenage heartthrob. He had a job, he drove a red pickup truck, and he was also the son of a local minister, Robert, who would preach out of his living room. Some would say he was a very loud, in-your-face minister. Michael was 2 years older than Dena, and with his ladies' man reputation and age, Dena knew her parents would not let her date him, so she only told her close friends about their relationship. Dena might have felt a little bit more strongly about the relationship than Michael did, though, as he had been ignoring Dena lately and hanging out with other young ladies at a spot he frequented near his home, referred to as Lover's Lane. This upset Dena so much she thought she would play a joke on him and teach him a lesson. Dena decided she would tell him she was pregnant. That would show him not to talk to other girls, that she was his one and only. However, this would go terribly wrong for Dena. On Saturday, June 6, 1998, Dena would finish her shift at Arby's and call her mom. Usually on Saturdays after work, she would meet her mom and dad at the racetrack. But when she called her mom, instead of telling her she was on her way to the track, she instead asked if she could go and meet a boy who wanted to talk to her after he got off work. She told her mom where he worked. Diana would tell Dena she could go, but she had to stay in the parking lot, as she did not know who this boy was. Dena told her mom she was meeting a boy named Michael, and she would be home by 10:30 or 11 p.m. Her mom told her she loved her, not knowing that it would be the last time she would hear her wonderful daughter's voice again. Diana said when she talked to Dena, she sounded fine and like nothing was wrong. She had no reason to worry anything was going to happen to her daughter. As 11 p.m. rolled around and Dena was not home, her parents did not immediately worry, and they thought she would be calling or walking through the door any minute. When midnight rolled around and no word from Dena, that was when panic set in for Larry and Diana, as they knew it was not like her to not call and let them know she would be late. When the phone did ring a few minutes after panic set in, they thought this was Dena. As Diana said hello, expecting to hear Dena's voice, she was surprised when it was one of Dena's friends telling them they had saw Dena's car parked in Marvin's food store lot with the windows down and no sign of Dena around. After the call, Larry and Diana would drive to the parking lot to look for Dena. When they arrived, they saw her car parked in a spot. The doors were unlocked and the windows were down. When Larry looked inside, he found Dena's wallet and an uneaten sandwich. A receipt from Marvin's food store was also found in the car. It had appeared the food in the car had been purchased a while before. This concerned Larry a great deal. He told his wife to call the police and wait with Dena's car. Larry headed off behind the strip mall to search for his daughter. Larry said he was already expecting the worst and began looking in every dumpster behind the store for his daughter. He would say in an interview he knew she had not run away and that something bad had happened to her. The police would have a witness come forward and say they saw a girl fitting Dena's description having a heated argument while walking next to a red truck with 2 men inside. The witness said a red truck pulled up as the female was walking, and as she walked, the truck slowly drove next to the female as she was screaming and arguing with the men inside. The witness would state that the red truck sped off, and after there was no sign of the female. It should be noted that the parking lot was located next to a major freeway. This would lead police at first to think she was abducted and possibly put into human trafficking. What Dena's parents did not know was 2 days prior, Dena had told Michael she was going to have his baby. Larry and Diana would also find out that her friends had written a note to Dena telling her that Michael was very upset about her being pregnant, and she needed to tell him it was a joke because things had gotten out of hand. This was mind-boggling to the police and Dena's parents. Was she really pregnant? If so, now police were looking for a teenage pregnant female, and that concerned them even more. After the information police received that Dena may be pregnant by her boyfriend Michael, police tracked him down and had some questions for him. When brought in for questioning, Michael would at first deny he even knew Dena. Police knew this was a lie. He would also tell them he was bowling on the night Dena vanished. Police would confirm Michael's alibi. However, they would also ask him to take a polygraph. He would agree to this, and he would be given 2. Michael failed both. It should be noted that polygraphs are not admissible in a court of law. It seemed he was being untruthful, but police would have no evidence to hold him on. On June 12th, Larry and Diana would get the news no parents wanted. Their daughter's body had been found, badly decomposing and mutilated, at none other than Lover's Lane. The medical examiner could not list how she died because of the state her body was in when it was found. He did rule Dena's death a homicide, and that Dena was not, nor had she ever been, pregnant. It turns out Dena was the one headed to see Michael that night, as she was going to tell him she was not pregnant, and it had been a prank to teach him a lesson for talking to other girls and ignoring her. Was this a joke that cost Dena her life? Some would seem to think so. The police would take all the information they had and try to get the grand jury to indict Michael on murder charges, as they felt this was their guy. However, the grand jury would say there was not enough evidence to indict. This was frustrating to the family and all of law enforcement. The case would grow colder by the minute, and when the Civilian Cold Case Task Force stepped in, which is a group of 22 retired men from all branches of law enforcement, they are a strictly volunteer group and decided to take a look at Dena's case. And when they did, they would find 60 new witnesses and talk to all of them. One witness said that it was not just Michael at the grocery store that day, but it was Robert, his dad, as well. Michael was set to get off work that night, and it was believed his dad showed up around 9:40 p.m. But why? That is a question police would like answered. Robert would show up again at the store the day after Dena went missing. He would ask the manager for his son's time card from the night before, and if at all possible for the pop bottle his son was drinking out of as well, if it was available in the garbage can where he was working at. Very suspicious items to want in the minds of law enforcement. When brought in for questioning, Robert and Michael would say they had no interaction with Dena on the night she vanished. They would continue to maintain their innocence throughout the investigation, and to this day. The Cold Case Task Force would say that Dena had one injury that could lead them to who had killed her. She had a broken jaw. Not a small break, her jaw was completely broken in half. Why the task force feels like this could be the key in solving the case, they have not said. However, they would rerun DNA found on the clothing of Dena. This time they would use familial DNA. When they did, they got a hit on Michael's uncle Stephen. Police now believe he was involved somehow. Search warrants were searched for Robert, Stephen, and Michael's DNA. The Cold Case Task Force say they are very close to cracking this case wide open, and whoever committed this horrible act should be shaking in their boots. Larry and Diana want justice served for their daughter. Dena was a young teenager who had her whole life ahead of her, and one prank could have been responsible for taking that all away. Did Michael commit this crime with his dad? Was his dad and uncle the ones in the truck that night and snatched Dena? Perhaps it was someone else entirely. These questions are close to having answers, and when they do, the parents will finally have some justice. Until then, they hold out hope that her memory will live on. They miss their daughter terribly and know nothing will bring her back, but they also want someone held accountable for the life they took away so young. If you have any information on this case, please call the Tulsa County Sheriff's Office Cold Case Unit at 918-596-5612. Once again, that's the Tulsa County Sheriff's Cold Case Unit at 918-596-5612. As always, I'd like to thank everyone for watching again, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so I can continue helping families of the missing, murdered, and unsolved. As always, this is the Chronikle, signing off.